We're going to call to order the Board of Adjustments meeting for December 18th, 2025. Before we get started, I'll read the Board of Adjustments introduction. Hearings before the Board of Adjustments are quasi-judicial in nature. Decisions of the board are based on the record of these proceedings. To grant a variance requires a concurrent vote of 4/5 of the members of the board. To reverse or modify the determination of an administrative official requires a simple majority. Evidence submitted to the board for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of the board's decision are to Superior Court and are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of filing of the board's orders in the Planning Division. A hearing before the board is conducted in concordance with the rules of procedure. Those who want to testify in a case are sworn as witnesses. The chairperson will recognize those who want to testify or their attorney for presentation of evidence during the hearing. To ensure all testimony is properly recorded, please come forward to address the board, state your name, address, and speak clearly. Before we go on, I'm going to go ahead and swear in anyone that's going to speak today. If you'd please rise to be sworn in.
All right, I'll ask that you stand and raise your right hand if you're going to speak today. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we go, next item we'll do is the approval of the minutes from the November 20th, 2025 meeting. If there isn't a change, I'd entertain a motion for those to be approved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Those pass. Before we go further, we have a few continuances and one withdrawal. We'll go ahead and clean up the agenda. It's item number 2 for 4125 Echo Farms Boulevard is asked for continuance. Is there anything further on that?
That's correct.
All right. Just all we need is a motion and a second to approve that continuance.
I'd like to make a motion, we continue item 2, 4125 Echo Farms Boulevard to the January 15th, 2026 meeting.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's been continued. Next item that's been requested a continuance is number 4, 1806 Montage Lane. Is there any additional information or on that? All right, that being the case, I'd ask for a motion for the continuance of that to also the January? Is it also the January meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion, we continue item 4, 1806 Montage Lane to the January 15, 2026 meeting.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That's approved. And just one item just to clear up, number 6 has been withdrawn. There's no need for a vote or further action, so we'll just note that will. All right, we'll go on to old business. Our first item, 100 River Rock Way, a variance to Legacy City Code Section 18-556, vision clearance standards to allow an existing wall adjacent to a proposed driveway within the site distance triangle. And Tucker, you're doing the presentation? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Tucker Cherry, zoning planner with the City of Wilmington. The subject property at 100 River Rock Way is located in the MFH multifamily residential high-density legacy district. According to New Hanover County tax records, the subject property contains approximately 1.04 acres. And on August 26th, the city's technical review committee approved a plan to utilize the subject property for private recreation. As a condition of the approval, the existing wall and fence within the site distance triangle were to be removed. Pursuant to City Code Section 18556 of the Legacy Code, no parking spaces, fences, walls, posts, lights, shrubs, trees, or other types of obstructions are permitted in space between 30 inches and above ground level and 10 feet from above ground level to preserve the vision clearance within the triangular site distance. This next slide should have the definition of triangular site distance, but it is the distance as the visually unobstructive triangular area of a street corner included in a triangle created by connecting the point formed by the intersection of curb lines or roadway edges. And I'll pause and let you all read the rest. The existing wall encroaches 31 feet and 2.5 inches into the required site distance triangle to the east and 32 feet and 9.5 inches to the west. On October 8th, 2025, planning staff accepted an application for a variance to the vision clearance standards to allow the existing wall to remain in place, and the matter is set for hearing before the Board of Adjustment today, November 20th, 2025. And these are site pictures of kind of existing conditions, what the wall looks like, where it's proposed, or where it is on site. Does the board have any questions?
Anyone have questions for Tucker this time? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Would the applicant like to also present at this time?
Good afternoon, members of the Board of Adjustment for the City of Wilmington. I'm Josh Mahaley, Mahaley Land Design. We actually did the parking lot design for the history of this kind of goes back as far as the need for this parking lot. It was it's there for the South Front District. They needed more parking. There's not enough parking there to service the businesses. So we created and right now the zoning of that property did not allow for off-site parking lot. So we had to create a way to make the parking legal on that site. Doing so, we would utilize the code to create a recreational center. It's the only way we could legally get this lot into compliance with the city, so the folks that utilize the South Front District businesses have a place to park. And, so we went round and round with the city, and this was the best means to do that, because the code doesn't allow for any zone down there to be utilized for only parking. It was being used for parking. It was a gravel lot that was not in compliance. So I worked with Tribute. We do a lot of work with Tribute, and we devised a way to sort of come up with a plan, renovate that site as a gravel lot in compliance with the city technical standards. The driveway and the wall were existing. So there was a perfectly good apron leading into this gravel lot. We utilized that. We renovated, the driveway to meet the city's code as far as the driveway apron standards, and added in sidewalks, handicap parking, gravel parking with curb stops, and a recreational facility that isn't really a recreational facility. It's a place to park. So as the project was built, we went through the process. It's pretty much done. And during the construction phase of this, we really looked at at this wall, and the wall is actually it's a good looking wall. It's been there a long time. It's been there 30, 40 years, or maybe longer. I don't know the exact date, but it's covered in creeping fig. It hides the parking lot, and like I said, this lot's been used as a parking lot since the South Front District's been developed. It's been used as a parking lot. As part of developing a plan, you need to come into, everything needs to get into compliance, right? Meet every code, every technical standard. So that's what we did. Our plan showed for us to remove a portion of this wall at the entrance to meet the site triangle standards. When we really started looking at this and they started building this, we were like, is this really necessary? Is this something that's really going to be in the spirit of the code, and is this something that really we need, that is worth doing? Is because it's going to really destroy a wall that's perfectly fine, looks great, and it's been functioning this way for a long time. So we looked at some avenues to potentially, get some kind of a leeway for this wall, and there really wasn't any. The only two options we really had was a text standard change or a variance. And in talking with staff, we decided the variance was the best way to go. This particular portion of the ordinance is funny. 18-556, if you read it, in the bottom part of it, it says that the requirements of this section shall not apply to approved traffic control devices, approved utility structures, trees, or principal structures erected within the historic district or central business district. Well, on the city map, we don't fall into the central business district or the historic district. However, you know, if you go to the map of National Register, you know, which is on the city's website, we do fall into the a portion of that, the Westbrook Ardmore National Register District. We're just on the fringe of it, and I got a map here that shows that. So there's some precedent for something like this. There's some precedent for a leeway of existing structures that, you know, that can remain within these little technical areas that we don't have to remove to meet every technical standard. So what we're asking for is a variance from section 18-556 to leave the wall as it remains, as it's remained for 40-plus years. There's a better driveway there now. There's sidewalks. It hasn't really, there's never been an issue there at all. There's only a few parking spaces back there. I mean, we had to reduce the number of parkings dramatically to only 25 spaces, which is that's the most amount you're allowed for a gravel parking lot in the city. So it's a much more safe place than it used to be, because it used to probably be 50 parking spaces back there. So we ask for the board to look at this how we do, and let us leave the wall as it stands, and let us not tear it down or cut it in half. And this was the best direction forward, so we ask for your support for this. I'm here for any questions if you have them.
Questions? Yes, sir.
What is the wall made of?
It's masonry wall.
It's a masonry wall?
It's a masonry wall covered in a, I mean, and then
In the fig?
it's covered, most of it's covered in creeping fig, and
Right.
it's got a nice parge coat, a gray parge coat with a cap. It
Masonry
looks,
meaning cinder block or?
yep, it's a
something like
block
that?
wall.
Block
Yep.
wall, okay.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Another question? Yes.
If we go back to that previous screen with the little map, yeah. So, forgive me, does that show that little triangle there in the lower left-hand corner at the intersection?
That's correct.
Does that triangle already exist and the wall is diagonal to that corner, or that's what would have to be changed? Forgive me.
The triangle, the dashed line is the site triangle. That's the area that has to be removed is the dimensioned area on each side. It's about 31 feet.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Just for the record, I just need to get your address. I forgot to, when you gave us your name, I just need your legal address.
Address is 330 Military Cutoff, Suite A3 in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at this time? All right, thank you. We might
Thank
have
you.
some others.
Appreciate it.
All right. Does the city have any follow-up to the applicant's presentation? Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and open up the evidentiary hearing. This is the time for anyone that has any additional evidence or substantial information that's relevant to this matter to come forward. Is there anyone who would like to offer any additional information? All right, being that there aren't, we'll go ahead and close the evidentiary hearing. Does the city have additional information related to the request? Does the applicant have anything else they would like to add at this time? All right. Do members have questions of city staff on this one? I guess, yes, sir.
So just to be clear, to be in compliance, they would have to remove 31 feet, 2.5 inches on one side, 32 feet, 9.5 inches on the other side, to completely remove that much of the wall, is that correct?
I believe so, but is it just to have the city verify?
Yes, to remove the wall from the site distance triangle, those measurements are accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it's very likely that wall is actually the original from Nesbitt Court, because that was Nesbitt Court housing, and I was on the board that voted to, when that sold, and I remember that area, so that's been there probably 70 years. So, okay. But questions or discussion?
Well, I went down and looked at the property, and what they've done is an improvement from before, which was a non-compliant parking lot. And in looking at how long that wall's been there, you know, I did not really have much of a difficulty with the 4 findings of fact. I think unnecessary hardship would result in removing the wall, and it does result from conditions which are peculiar to the property because it's been there for so long. And the wall's been there, and it's been a parking lot. I think they've just improved that parking lot, and I do think it's consistent with the spirit of the ordinance, and also that, like, they are kind of on the verge of the historic and sections of the town, so I'm really okay with it.
I'd like to concur with my colleague. I think that indeed substantial justice would be done if we approved the requested variance. Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, does someone want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance as requested based on the 4 findings of fact for 100 River Rock Way.
All right, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll move on to item number 3 of 5301 Wrightsville Avenue, a variance to City Code Section 18-153 and 18-408 for the construction, excuse me, of the rehabilitation hospital on the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor. Pat, you're doing this one?
Yes.
Even on your vacation?
Even on my vacation, no. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This is a variance request, as mentioned, for 5301 Wrightsville Avenue. Here's the aerial of the subject site, which currently contains the New Hanover Novant Orthopedic Hospital, which was formerly the Cape Fear Memorial Hospital, located along Wrightsville Avenue. It has been in operation since about 1957. It's currently zoned O&I, office and institutional. Along this corridor, and I should mention the site is about 15.7 acres. Along this corridor, we had what was formerly called the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor Overlay, or the WACO. This was adopted in 1990 and included design standards for new construction along the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor. This included building size limits and other design standards for the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor. These are some photos of the existing site as it's currently developed, and these are photos of some of the properties, or structures, I should say, that are proposed to be removed with this development for a new medical office building. The applicant's requesting 2 variances in relation to this, this redevelopment of the hospital along the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor. This is for the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor standards for a new construction of a building, which is limited to 3,200 square feet. They are increasing the new building over that permitted size for a new building along this corridor. And they are also requesting a variance from Section 18-153, which is a setback for hospitals from a property line. So I'll go into that a little bit more detail. But just to give you an idea of what is currently existing and what the applicant is proposing, they are currently planning on removing 11 buildings on the site to replace them with one new building, which is a 3-story, 90,000 square foot hospital. So what they're currently proposing is to remove those existing structures, which are along the northern property boundary and then interior to the site. The northern structures are approximately 25 feet from the property line. And then they are proposing this new structure here that you see on the right. And then I've broken down the variance requests that the applicant is requesting. So the two standards are listed on the column on the left, that all buildings of a hospital facility be a minimum 100 feet from any property line. Currently, there are 3 buildings approximately 25 feet from the northern property line. The proposed structure and the variance request is for a building of a new building 55.7 feet from the northern property boundary and 97.9 feet from the eastern boundary. The second request from that Wrightsville Avenue Corridor regulation to have a maximum building footprint of 3,200 square feet. They currently have 3 buildings that are over the 3,200 square feet. There are 8 buildings located on site that are under the 3,200 square feet for a total of 29,515 square feet to be removed and replaced with 1 building, which is 30,000 square feet, with 3 stories for a total of 90,000 square feet, but a 30,000 square foot building footprint. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'd like my presentation case summary be entered into the record. The applicant is here as well to answer any questions about the project and the request.
Does anyone have questions for Pat at this time?
I have one question. It says that buildings could exceed the maximum building lot coverage with the issue of a special use permit. Have they explored a special use permit or decided to go for the variance?
So that requirement was in the previous land development code and is no longer in the current land development code. So that allowance was prior to 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have a question?
If I may, just
Yes,
to
sir.
clarify, sir. So if I understand correctly, the 30,000 square foot building footprint is nevertheless going to sort of consolidate. I mean, it's going to be consolidated on the overall property, which I think you said was something multiple acres. And so if I'm seeing this correctly, so the other space that you open up will be devoted to, I see, what, a garden, and what will some of the other area be used for, if I may ask?
I believe, yeah, they've shown a garden here. I'd let the applicant kind of explain their future plans more in depth in regards to their plans in that area.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, just to, so we have 2 variances, and just to state what that variance would be, like can we just give us a summary of what the difference is?
The first variance listed here would be the 100-foot setback from any property line for the building, for the new structure. So they currently have those 3 buildings that are located within 25 feet of property line. We would consider that an existing nonconformity. They are proposing to be still within that 100-foot boundary, but not as far as the current buildings. So they're reducing that nonconformity. And then the second variance request would be for the square footage, the footprint of the new building above that 3,200 square feet that's allowed within the Wrightsville Avenue Corridor.
All right, does any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to comment. I do find this matrix very helpful. This
Yeah,
is
it
very
is.
helpful for anybody else listening for future reference.
Would the representative for the applicant like to speak?
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm Charles Baldwin. I'm down the street in the Brooks Pierce Wilmington office. Our office address is 115 South 3rd Street, Suite 301, and I brought my A-team with me today. So I have the project designer and construction firm, Mr. Buddy McKean. I have our architect, Mr. John Tonstel, and most importantly, I have the client. So I have Ruth Glazer and Leslie Kessler from Novant. So we're prepared to answer any questions you may have and talk about this project, but I'm very excited to represent this exciting project. So what the hospital is trying to do is relocate the existing 67,900 square foot building on the main campus on 17th Street to where it makes sense behind the orthopedic hospital. This is an orthopedic rehab facility, physical therapy, occupational therapy, those sorts of things. We're a little bit under the gun on time. I really appreciate staff's working with us to get everything in by November 4 and get us on this agenda. Novant, for internal budget reasons, really needs to get this approved if that's the board's desire so that we can get it built. So I'm here under no pressure whatsoever. So I've got a slideshow that'll hopefully get us through this fairly quickly, and I appreciate staff's great job with the setup. Okay, next slide, please. So these are some photographs I took. So this is sort of from the middle of the property, and you can see this open space, 15.7 acres. There are a lot of vehicles that come and go currently without complaint. Next slide, please. These are some of the existing buildings. So we're in sort of the northeast corner of the property, looking at the existing orthopedic hospital. Next slide. This is looking to the right. You can see there are these outdated 11 buildings we're talking about removing. Next slide, please. This is from the other end, other back corner of the lot, looking forward towards the hospital. So you can see the amount of space we're talking about. Next slide, please. So here's what we're proposing, and as you can see, it was configured in an L to be as far as possible from the existing properties. There'll be a healing garden, and the applicant plans to plant vegetation and other buffer out there. And so this is the variance under code section 18-153.A4. Next slide, please. And so we've just popped out the distances. So you can see to the north, we will be at 55.7 feet. So 44.3 is the requested variance. To the east, we will be at 97.9, so 2.1 feet. So a total of approximately 46 feet is what we're here requesting today. Next slide, please. These are the buildings adjacent to the property line that were mentioned. You can see all the buildings with an X will be removed, but you can see how close these are to the existing property, and we will consolidate in the middle as was astutely observed. Next slide, please. If the code were strictly applied, here is what we could build. And you can't do a lot of rehab facility in that space, I would venture. So turning to the 4 variance factors, unnecessary hardship would absolutely result. The property use would be overly restricted, and the community would be denied a needed medical facility on an existing medical campus. Hardships result from conditions peculiar. The hospital has been here, as noted, since 1957, and because of the configuration of the land and so forth, it would be difficult to meet those setbacks. And the overlay district's been in effect since 1990, so this medical campus pre-exists the current overlay district. These hardships did not result from any action by the petitioner. Again, the lot's configuration and the specific requirements are the issue here, not anything the applicant did. And the final factor, the requested variance consists of the spirit, purpose, and intent, and public safety and substantial justice would be achieved. Again, absolutely, the use will not change from medical. It will preserve the spirit and intent of the overlay district, including conformity of use, as well as adequate separation from adjacent properties. There are landscaping and design features that would minimize that, and public safety would be secured by meeting a community medical need, and some substantial justice would be achieved for the community at large, including health and economic development benefits, and allowing reasonable medical use of the property. So for the foregoing reasons, we would request that the variance be granted. I'll be glad to answer any questions the board has.
Questions for Mr. Baldwin? Anybody? We may have some after the
Certainly.
public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Does the city have anything to add before we go into the evidentiary?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the evidentiary hearing. This is the point where someone can provide additional or relative information related to this matter. Is there anyone that'd like to speak? All right, seeing that there aren't any, we'll go ahead and close the evidentiary hearing and move on to questions from the board. Do people have questions of the city, or I can put the applicant, Mr. Baldwin can come back up? I guess I have a few questions. When we start looking at the building size, when we go from what is allowed being 3,200 square feet to something that's 90,000 square feet, like trying to figure out how something like that. Footprint, right, yeah.
30,000.
30,000 square feet footprint.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, one thing I look at is they're knocking down over 29,000 square feet and replacing it with 30,000 square feet that's further from the property line, further from residential districts, and more central to the property.
Yeah. I just wanted to get it out there when we start talking about sizes.
Well, and I thought that the applicant made an interesting demonstration of what would happen if one were to strictly apply the ordinance, because it would then result in a almost useless structure sort of in the middle of that oddly shaped property, it would seem. Thank you.
We can talk, yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, I think in terms of the footprint, I think what makes this peculiar itself is the size of the lot. I don't think they took into consideration 3,300 square feet on a 15.2 acre lot. So I do think that hardship definitely results from that. Just looking at the size of the lot, like we talked about, they're tearing down roughly the same amount of outdated, probably not very good condition buildings that are on site, and coming back with something new, modern, state of the art. I think the findings of fact, are easily achieved here.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, I think the only thing that is of, in conflict with the existing code is that 3,200 to 30,000 footprint size, but if you consider the use of the property as a medical facility, hospital property, you can't build anything of any reasonable function that would be used as a hospital or rehab facility or whatever in 3,200, a footprint of 3,200 feet, unless you went, 20 stories high or something. So to me, this seems to be a reasonable use of the property, and the findings of fact, as the applicant stated, I think they did a nice job with their application and a nice job of the explanation, and I'm in favor of this.
Anybody else have anything else to add? All right. If there aren't any other questions or comments, is there a motion relating to the two variances? We'll vote on them together if everyone's okay with that.
I move to accept the applications for variances.
All right, there's been a motion to accept to grant the variances. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone? That passes unanimously. All right, we'll move on to item number 5. 200 Hillsdale Drive, variance to City Code Section 18-28, residential setback standards within the R15 district. Grace?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Grace LeMay, Zoning Planner 1 for the City of Wilmington. The subject property for item 5 today is 200 Hillsdale Drive, which is zoned R15, and it's located at the intersection of Hillsdale Drive and Nash Drive, which is recognized as an unimproved right-of-way, but is considered a side street per Land Development Code standards. The property is considered a corner lot and is currently vacant. The applicant plans to relocate an existing single-family home to this location, fronting on Hillsdale Drive. At this time, no building permits have been applied for. LDC Section 1828 requires a minimum of a 15-foot side street setback within the R15 district, and according to the applicant's site plan, the attached porch on the side of the house would encroach into the side street setback along Nash Drive. Section 18422 would allow the porch to encroach into the setback up to a maximum of 5 feet. However, the porch will encroach more than this section permits. The applicant has requested a variance to allow the porch to encroach 8.22 feet into the side street setback requirement, which would be a variance of 3.22 feet with the permitted 5-foot encroachment included. The applicant states the porch would enhance the home's livability and curb appeal, providing a functional outdoor space for the occupants. This matter is set for hearing before the Board of Adjustment on December 18th, 2025. I'd like to submit my staff report and all attachments to the record. I'm available to answer any questions for the city, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
All right, does anyone have questions for Grace? All right, thank you. All right. Would the applicant like to speak?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Misty Donaldson, and this is for 200 Hillsdale Drive. So my family is in the process of relocating the home. This is a special historic home that we are relocating. This was a filming location filmed for the locally filmed Dawson's Creek, and I'm committed to preserving the home to its current state. However, the current setback requirements have presented me with a challenge. To meet the code, we would be forced to remove the home's porch, and this is a feature that is central to the history of the home. Lots of iconic scenes were filmed on this porch. This porch also creates a cozy atmosphere for the home. Nash Drive is a public road, but it's a gravel road. It has one neighboring home, so this is not going to cause any trouble for the neighboring home. The porch will actually keep the home aesthetically pleasing. So we are requesting the variance to allow the home to be situated in a manner that preserves this porch. If this is not approved, then we will have to remove the porch from the home. So I greatly appreciate your support for this. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Right, does anyone have any questions at this time? All right,
Thank you.
All right, does the city have anything to add? All right, we'll go, excuse me. We'll go ahead and open up the evidentiary hearing. This is time for anyone who has additional information relevant. Is there anyone that'd like to speak at this time? All right, so we'll go ahead and close the evidentiary hearing, and we'll move on. Is there any additional information from the city? Any from the applicant? All right, we'll turn it back to you guys for discussion.
Well, I have a question that might go to the city in terms of conditions if we approve the variance. If we approve the variance for the porch, would that open up the possibility someday down the road of somebody putting an addition on the house that would also sort of encroach on the setback that's required? Or not, or if we approve the variance, could we condition it that it just pertain to a porch and no future potential additions to the home, if you see what I mean?
I think that you could condition it in that way if you wish, but any additions in the future, if they were to encroach into that setback requirement, they would also need to request a variance for that.
I see, so it would come up as a variance question in any case?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Does anyone have a motion?
I make a motion to approve this as requested based on the 4 findings of fact.
All right, there's been a motion to approve the variance. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All that being said, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, we'll move down to other business. The 2026 meeting and submissions deadline calendar. Is anything need to be presented or on this? It was in our package and was also advertised, so. Do you need approval on that, or is just, you do need, okay. You all have that in your packets. Is there a motion to approve the 2026 meeting calendar as
Make a
presented?
motion that we approve the 2026 meeting and submission deadline schedule as submitted.
All right, there's been a motion, just need a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That is approved. Is there anything else today for any of us? All right. Have a good holiday.